I'm your host. I'm Syra Monica, and welcome to our first episode of the Primelook. And this is actually a new segment by Atharra Primeland Development Corporation. We will be doing this virtual talk show every now and then, and our objective here is to find real people with real outlooks to share their insights on different interesting topics. And for today, we will be discussing about condo developments. And so, if there had been no COVID, we would have been face to face, and this could have been a much more casual talk. But we're on Zoom right now, so we'll deal with it. So about condo developments in Bohol, we found that I think the best people to invite are no less than our own BODs. So we have invited three of our board of directors of APDC, which I will be introducing right now. So you can see them on the screen. Let me give them a roll call. So our first guest is a Master in Public Administration and the former Provincial Administrator of the Province of Bohol. He served for more than 20 years in public service. And among his many involvements as public servant was designated as Cluster Head for Peace and Order and founded the Telephone and Radio System Integrated Emergency Response, or as you may now know as Tarshir 117. He was a delegate and representative on behalf of the province in the Asia Pacific and North American regions for exchange programs on ecotourism, tourism and investment relations, leadership, and emergency management. So now he has also grown to be an asset in the private sector, sitting as a director in Bohol Light Company Incorporated, Saigonet Holdings Corporation, and as our chairman in APDC. So help me welcome our very own Sir Alfonso A. de Malera II. Welcome, sir. Hi, it's nice to have you.
Thank you, Syra.
And the audience, say hello, greet them.
Thank you, Syra.
And our second speaker is a licensed real estate broker. He founded Young Urban Property Professionals Incorporated, a credible realty firm in the province of Bohol, and he was the chief finance officer for CEO Builders. He is actively affiliated with the Bohol Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the National Real Estate Association, and National Association of Realtors. He is our very own dynamic president, Sir Godfrey Degal. Hi, sir.
Hello, Zai.
Hi. So, dear our audience, we are live now. I think we have more than 15 viewers and counting.
Good afternoon to all of our viewers and listeners.
Okay. And our third, but certainly not the least guest speaker is a director in Young Urban Property Professionals Incorporated and the president of Construction Experts and Outstanding Builders. He is also an active affiliate for both Bohol and Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And he is our lively and ever supportive VP for Operations, Mr. Alex Zafra Jr. Hi, Sir Alex.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Okay, so it's nice to see all of you in this Zoom meeting. It's my first time to be actually in a meeting with all three of you via Zoom. And it's a pretty casual setup. I mostly see you on corporate events, formal events, and so this is a different take for our audience to just see you casually here on Zoom. And so our topic for today is all about condo developments. I'm pretty sure you have vast knowledge and experience about this. So I'll be throwing in some questions for all of you to answer. Just give your authentic insights about it, and let's just have a good time. Okay, so before that, let me ask, how are you? How have you been during this general community quarantine? Have you been doing something new, something interesting? Let's go first with Sir Alex. I'm pretty sure I see you on social media. You're a plantito yourself. What's fun?
Yeah, that's it. During the quarantine time, I made myself busy planting and learning new things, reading some books applicable to the business. But
yeah, that's good.
my time, plant.
Yeah, plantito. I see your posts all the time, and you're actually doing a good job being a plantito. I wish I was that much of a green thumb or I had that much talent. How about you, Sir Godfrey? What have you been doing throughout the general community quarantine?
Well, during my vacant times, I do spend them on farms. Uh, okay, relax po that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After the general quarantine, we're very restricted man.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
So we can enjoy na sa malls kaya we just buy our essentials na lang.
yeah.
So read books, find new ways kung saan pag-strategize ang company. And then, relax sa farm lang.
So you've been doing some activities outdoors, spending more
Outdoors
family
naman.
time, and reading books. That's
Not in
actually
the
really
malls na lang.
nice.
Wala
Yeah,
na
not
sa
in the
malls.
malls. Yeah, not like you used to, diba? Big shopping ka always, sir.
Yeah.
And how
Kasi
about you,
tagad
Sir
na
A?
Well, there's a lot of things that I've been doing ever since the start of this pandemic. Um, we've been assisting also from the government side, both
Mm-hmm.
the provincial government and the local government units, helping in my capacity as a volunteer, as a civilian volunteer, and seeing to it that the safety of the people of Bohol must be very much considered in terms of this community quarantine. So recently, we've been meeting also with our top officials, and helping them in coming up with some policy recommendations to ensure safety and security to everyone. But nevertheless, we've been doing also privately some of our business undertakings so that they'll be able also to cope up with this very challenging time, especially with, most of the business sector are already affected. So we've been trying our best to make sure that we'll be able to do our little share in seeing to it that this is something also that will not really, really affect the industry, the real estate development, the the other sectors of our society, especially the labor sector and the other industries, especially in the province of Bohol.
Yes, and the government are trying their best. They're doing their best, and we see that, and we thank them for that. So thank you so much for also volunteering and for also doing your part. So I guess we will now head on to our main topic, condo developments in Bohol. I'll be throwing, like I said, I'll be throwing in some questions later on. The audience will also be engaging, and they'll also be asking some questions. But let me be the first, okay? So my question is first goes to the chairman, Mr. A. Damalerio. As chairman of the company, can you tell us who is Atharra Primeland and what is its vision? What does it want to achieve as a company?
Well, basically, Atharra Primeland is a new real estate company. I should say it is new. It is still about 2 years old from its conceptualization. But we are also trying to position ourselves as a leading and as a premier real estate company. Uh, Premier in a sense that we are also capitalizing on our strength, and we are making sure that we are very competitive in terms of
Yes.
wealth creation, in terms of productivity, and we also want to be a contributor in terms of Bohol's local economy by also partaking of the bigger pie in terms of the market share in real estate development.
Yes.
So that is who we are as a company, as a new company. We have a lot of dreams, but we want to make it also very strategic. Our our initiatives are always anchored on a more research, and it is mostly be founded on what is really the need for the
Mhm.
Boholanos and even potential investors that are not from Bohol.
Yes, I do testify from that because I was previously a research and development officer. And so the work that has been done by the team was very useful in terms of really knowing where we are in the current market and also growing from that position and just achieving little by little the vision that we want, which is to aim to be the top in the province alone. And so for Sir Godfrey, in the middle of a pandemic wherein recovery is uncertain, how has the company coped up with it? What preventive and safety measures were done first, and how have you assured manpower productivity to keep on going?
Uh, for sure, could say there's a lot of projection magad about the recovery in our economy,
Mm.
especially here in the Philippines. But one thing is for sure lang siguro karon, we are more equipped na and we are better in handling this pandemic this time. If we compare sa previous nga mga pandemics
Yes.
which lasted siguro mga 2 to 3 years before na normalize. With God's grace, the real estate industry is not heavily affected with crisis compared to other industries. And for the real estate industry, for real estate development, we are expected with mostly kita gid more recover first.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if we think of it, way before the pandemic, we already have a large number of housing and accommodation backlog here in Bohol.
Yes.
Thus, considering this as an existing demand, we have anticipated it even before the pandemic, which makes us less worried.
Mhm.
Though things are uncertain now, we just have to trust the process siguro to monitor our projections and outputs, uh, to also accept the new normal. Wala naman tayong mabuhat ani, to follow health protocols, and to have this mindset na we will heal as one.
Yes.
Together with our stakeholders and other industry partners. Because eventually, things will work out soon. Mahuman naman gid ni. Siguro this time lang, siguro it requires us to be more considerate to everyone to survive this challenge. So for now, we just have to innovate, 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 and welcome to the digital world.
Mhm. Yes,
Preparado
and
po this for our manpower.
yes, and you've mentioned that there was already this backlog even before the pandemic, right? And so I guess people now during this pandemic, I think more people are able to value a house or a home, as a matter of fact. So um, we don't know. Maybe after this, after all this shenanigans of the pandemic, more people would be more enticed to acquire their own home and to invest in their own home because it's very important, especially the experience that they've had during lockdown. How it's important to have their own abode and to have a safe place. So I think there's definitely a silver lining for the real estate industry. How
Yeah.
about you, Sir Alex? Even with COVID-19, do you think there has been any positive impact that it has given at all, especially in the daily operations of the company? I I think your mic is muted, sir. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Thank you for the question, Sai. As we all know that this COVID-19 pandemic is so devastating that we have to temporarily halt our operation for a few weeks. But our eagerness to deliver our commitments to our clients is much more stronger that we learn to live with it. Diba? And
Yeah.
back to your question, if there has been a positive impact that the COVID-19 has given to us in our daily operations, I would say that yes, COVID-19 in any ways positively affected our operations. COVID-19 give us extra time to plan ahead the execution of the upcoming construction
Yes.
for our Atharra Switch project in the Odawis, as we all know.
Mhm.
It is also because of the pandemic we learned to streamline our operation, focusing only on things that are really necessary for the operations go keep on going. So
Mm-hmm.
it also shifted our mindset from a typical approach into a risk based mindset. So we have to plan ahead the unforeseen or the foreseen risk, and plan ahead the mitigating factors, and to prevent that risk from happening. So from before, it's a very laid back approach. Para lang, oh, this is our projection. So this is
Yeah.
just line, but so this COVID-19 came, it's very devastating. So we have to learn to shift our mindset also, as what the president said, that we have to learn with it. So I would say that, in any ways or in other sense, that this COVID-19 give us a positive impact, especially in the operation of the company.
Yes, I agree with you. And I actually really like your answer that we have shifted our mindset to a more risk, like risk driven mindset, because we had this momentum, diba? Before the pandemic, we were very competitive, very aggressive, but I don't think we really had this outlook on some things that we may have missed along the way, or, some backlogs along the way. And so having this pandemic actually gave us a new outlook to just recheck and rebalance, and just make sure that everything is in place before anything else, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Ma'am Sai.
So, Sir A, how did you come about the idea of starting a real estate company specializing in condo developments? Considering the controversy for many people in Bohol who are perceived as traditionalists and people who seem to be against heavy industrial developments for an island province alone. How did you come about the idea, and why do you think it's good to have a condo in Bohol already?
Well, I think part of it, Syra, is a result of a very careful study and research. And yeah, it all started with a very challenging task, knowing very well that we are a new company, but there are also companies that were ahead of us in terms of development. There were these traditional apartments in Tagbilaran in the province of Bohol, but we just tried to be very creative and innovative, in terms of how are we going to position ourselves and our Atharra Primeland company to be more innovative in terms of how are we going to deal with our clients, our investors, the local government units, especially given the culture of the Boholanos, the attitude. But one thing that is very clear to us is because of the management tool that we have in terms of planning and strategizing, and the technical competence of our people, we were able to capture into the sensitivity of our clients in terms of their choices in terms of reliability, in terms of their company's choice as is it service oriented, or are we following service standards or quality standards in terms of infrastructure development. But one thing very certain also is the affordability of our condo hotels or condo units. So I think that is an idea where we started about 2 years ago, and so on and so forth, as we discussed with the board on how are we going to also position ourselves in terms of what is our development roadmap in the next 10 years, and how are we going to achieve despite all the challenges, especially with this COVID pandemic. But one thing that is clear for the Boholanos is we are very resilient in everything that we do. So despite all adversities and all challenges, we will be able to cope up because of maybe our shared leadership and our collective undertaking on how are we going to handle and handle all these things together. So, and that is a product of teamwork.
Yes, that's actually very well said, and thank you so much thorough explanation on that one. Sir Godfrey, we also have viewers, not just clients who have invested in APDC, not just our partner realties or partner sellers. We have this is actually a public session, and many people, they're not so aware on the benefits of condo living, or some people, they're new to this condo investment. Tell us, what is a condominium and how is it better, or at least at an advantage, than any other real estate property? Why should people choose to live or invest in it rather than a typical housing unit?
Very challenging. um, for me, Kisai, as a real estate enthusiast, I'm attracted to all kinds of real estate properties and all kinds of real estate developments. And I believe in the saying, Manggod nga, real estate is the king of all investments. These properties have their different purposes and advantages. So for the question, what are the advantages of a condominium? Um, I would prefer most of the condominium projects today has their edge in terms of their amenities, prices, and location. So actually, condominium units and housing units are much incomparable. They have characteristics distinct to each other in terms of features,
Yes.
demand, and purpose.
Mhm.
Uh, they also serve different types of market. Di ba? When we buy properties, we have different purposes. So all I can say is it depends on your purpose. So let's say for example, you're looking for a property near Panglao International Airport with affordable price, and you prefer something like has a resort type of ambience and amenities. So definitely you'll better go with our upcoming project, the Palm Oasis residences, di ba?
Plugging Palm
Oh,
Oasis.
yeah, which can cater your needs. Let me also cite our project, the Atharra Suites Panglao, which is also very attractive for investors who are looking for a more stable kind of investment that pays them passive income. So they don't have to do anything else because we do all the work. So, so siguro, it depends on the purpose if for your question.
Yes, and that is true. It's really depending on the likability of the person, and as well as his preferences. Basically, they say that your home is also a reflection of you, or your investment is also a reflection of you. As for millennials, and so I guess that's the way to see it. That basically real estate is a good investment, period, and it really just depends on the preferability of the person, right, sir?
Yes, yes, I.
Okay. So Sir Alex, do you picture yourself living in a condo? As VP for operations, you see firsthand the development of a project, but considering yourself as an ordinary consumer, you very well fit the demographics of APDC. You know, you're a young professional, successful. Which project of APDC do you think is fit for you?
For the first question, do I see myself living in a condo? I would say yes. Of course, I do see myself living in a condo where amenities are within my reach. I wouldn't go far to do some lifting because fitness gym is a basic amenity, di ba, in a condominium.
Okay,
Also,
so mag-gym ka, sir.
yeah, if I want also to swim, we have also a condominium also has a swimming pool. So yeah, I definitely see myself living in those where as what I've said that amenities are within my reach. So back to the second question also, looking at the economic landscape of Bohol, mainly the economic activities are mainly clustered in Tagbilaran, Dawis, and Panglao area. So for the last question, what projects fits me well? So I would say that Oasis, because it's not for investment, but if I want to live or stay in that area or in that or in that project, condominium project. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, looking at the
Yes,
economic landscape, there
yes,
there.
and also what's also good with Palm Oasis, even Atharra Suites, their locations, they're both in the same location. They're both accessible, but at the same time secure because they're not too far from the city, which makes them accessible. But they're secure in a sense that they're not too near the city. So it's
Mm.
just the best of both worlds, basically. So, Sir A, you also have vast experience and knowledge in the public sector. How is Bohol positioned against other provinces, and how is it ready for bigger developments other than just condominiums?
Well, I think one very interesting official that we should say that we can capitalize on his statement is the president. It's no less than President Duterte, who considers Bohol as the best destination in terms of investment, and that has been in the newspapers and in social media. In terms of where does Bohol position right now in terms of investments, um, maybe that is based on the economic growth of the province of Bohol, the business opportunities. No less than the late central bank governor when he was here in Bohol, he considered Bohol as one of the fastest growing destination for investment, especially on tourism development. So economic growth of Bohol is around 9.7%. That is even higher than national standards, of course, before COVID pandemic. But still, we can proudly say that we have been in the map in terms of investments and other developments in the Philippines. A lot of things are developing in Bohol. We can see that in Dawit, in Panglao, in Baclayon, and other areas. So I should say that when we consider developing condominiums, we are taking a share of the hotel accommodation sector in the tourism industry. So, right, just what Godfrey was telling, and Alex, that there is a clear demand because we have shortage in terms of accommodation, in terms of facility. When our Panglao International Airport will be fully resumed into its full operation, we are confident that there will be more developments in the province of Bohol in terms of bringing in more bigger investments. So the challenge continues. About that, and in this industry, there's a lot of things that you have to consider in developing permits, government, local government, and national government processes, steps, and procedures, uh, marketing, research, development, and many others. So I think Bohol has positioned itself to be more competitive with other provinces in terms of investments, in terms of economic progress and development.
Yes, I actually agree with that. And just to see the growth of the province and to witness it firsthand, I grew up in Bohol and I'm a Boholana. So definitely to see the transition, from this traditional and um, very family, people oriented province, we have grown to be more open to not just local, investments, but also to international investments, and to see that is very fulfilling, and I'm sure that Bohol is more promising after this pandemic. And it's amazing also how the government and the private sector has worked together. You see it from time to time on social media, on the news, that the partnership between the government and the private sector has been tremendous in uplifting the enterprise and economic activity in Bohol. So kudos to
Maybe
that.
because just an addition for that, Syra,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we see in Bohol the synergy and the strong collaboration with the government and the private sector, and that has been enshrined in the government's efforts of reaching out to the private sector, the business community, and other sectors. The sense of dynamism and cooperation is there. So, in terms of balancing our development, in terms of real estate projects, I'm sure our local officials are very careful in seeing to it that permits and clearances are well addressed in terms of environmental impact and vis-a-vis development, no, in terms of more infrastructure that will be in place in their respective local government units. Each LGU has their own zoning ordinances, and I'm sure that with their each of their leadership will be able to provide a clear guidance to these developers and to some of these developers, including Atharra Primeland, to be consistent with what is regulated by our government.
Yes, that's actually very nice because the more investors coming in, of course, there's going to be some sort of impact, especially when we talk about the environment. Um, we see more resorts coming in, more condominiums coming in, real estate developments, and so it's really also very nice that the government has taken initiative to look out for that and to make sure that everything is according to what the regulations say and everything. Everyone, all developers are binded to the regulations as well. Okay. So, Sir Godfrey, it is without question that there is already competition present arising in our own province, and we are proud to say that we are actually one of the most aggressive and competitive. For people to decide for themselves, what do you think makes a great real estate developer?
Um, I agree with your question or statement that we're one of the most aggressive and competitive.
Yes.
And I also agree that there's a lot of competition na gyud diri happening in our province in terms of real estate development, especially in Panglao. Not just local developers, but also mga national developers uh, na develop na pod karon na start. And I am glad that we were able to cope up with them with such competition in the most positive and best ways as we can. Uh, it is indeed po na challenge for every developer, especially those new in the industry, to get a big slice of their share in the market nowadays. So, if I am to tell what makes a great developer, I believe it should be something who can bring out the best offer it can give to the market. And that means building a good reputation, producing quality innovations, and creating while maintaining fruitful relationships towards its market and stakeholders. This for sure will make a great developer ace the game. So in Atara Primeland, we try our very best to become customer centric as possible as we can.
Yes. Mhm.
And here, competitions are won by teams, di ba? So we also make sure that our manpower is enough and well equipped. That's why we go mga pasahan sa trainings, paskulahon na to sila. Kay they make Atara Primeland as a team.
Yes, I
So
actually agree with that. APDC is very customer centric. We have mentioned earlier that we are actually research driven. And so part of that is during the project conceptualization, we do FGDs or focus group discussions, we do surveys to make sure that whatever our consumers are presently looking for, then we make sure that we are able to provide that in our upcoming and even our existing projects. And also to note that, to also note, I think real estate developers nowadays, most of them are very aggressive when it comes to just presenting new promos, new prices, but they're not even minding what actually the consumer needs. They just seem to throw these offerings that don't fit even the needs of a consumer. And so I think
Uh,
what you've
Let me
mentioned.
also add up say ang service gid po sa company.
Yes, yeah.
We provide the
Mhm.
after sales service.
Yes, the after sales. Yeah, because most people think that the service stops after the closing of the sale, but the after sale service definitely gives contribution to the whole customer experience and overall the
Yes.
impact that the
Yes,
company
yes.
gives to the customer. For you, Sir Alex, APDC is tied rootly with excellence. How do you think excellence is reflected through its corporate body and manpower? That excellence is basically our major core value in our company. We have 5 core values, and so excellence is widely emphasized. How is that reflected in our company?
Okay, thank you, Miss Sai, Sai, for that Miss Universe question. Yeah, as you have mentioned, that excellence has been part of our core values, di ba? So I think it's reflected in our service. Uh, before, di ba, we have, before the pandemic, we have these mga issues naman. But along the way, we evolved or adapted a certain approach towards improving our services. And then it's not just we improve, but we maintain the improvements. So that's for me is a reflection of excellence. So we don't just change, but we have to maintain that change toward a more better company on to be uh, more, yeah, as what the president said, more customer centric. So to answer the question, how do I think excellence is reflected? So I would say that it's reflected in our service. From side.
I actually agree with that, and we're proud to say that APDC not is not only customer centric, but in terms of service, in terms of not just service to direct clients, but as well as to our partner realties and partners in the business. Basically, we have been giving out outstanding service as much as possible. Okay, so we actually have a question from the audience, and anyone or all of you can answer this. Someone said, since Atharra Suites being the front runner of condominiums in Bohol and is targeted mainly to cater tourists in the island, both international and domestic, how confident is the company in making sure that the project will bring financial output to the investors, particularly at this time of pandemic? Um, I guess what they mean by this is that how confident are we, even amidst this pandemic? You know, there's been a stop in flights, a stop in tourist accommodation, and influx of tourists. How will this still bring financial output, particularly during this time, the Atharra Suites project?
Well, if I may shoot my first answer to that question,
Mhm.
well, basically, at Aurora Primeland, we are trying our best to create a brand of excellence that delivers our commitment to our valued clients. So it's a total package of business ventures on how are we going to sustain our partnership with them and our clients by providing them also a share of our commitment to them in terms of their potential return of investment because in real estate development, particularly condo residential, their um, interest of joining this business will be in terms of profit sharing, in terms of also availing of the opportunity to come to Bohol and stay at our nice hotel. So it's a combination of business and leisure. But what is important is our team's dedication in terms of providing our commitment to our valued clients, and that is something that we can really be very proud in terms of customer service, in terms of commitment sharing, especially with our partner clients. And not only that, our package of coming up with joint ventures with land holding companies. If there are some businessman or land holdings in Bohol that might be willing to partner with us in how to capitalize their properties, their unused or unproductive properties, we can discuss so many things that will be able to partner with you in terms of how to make it very productive. We can come up with some packages. So that is our plan as far as Primeland, Atharra Primeland is concerned.
So to summarize your answer, it's all really about us sharing the commitment, and we also have this vast horizon because we have joint venture partnerships who are also very promising in terms of investments and financial outputs, right?
Well, just like other business institutions, Sarah, the most challenging part is the trust and confidence build up in terms of investors, developers, and of course other sectors that will be part of this undertaking. So in terms of how do we collaborate and also make sure that we deliver what has been uh, in our contractual obligation with other parties, that is a brand that we have to maintain as far as a parent line is concerned.
Yes, and we
Tay,
shall maintain. Yes,
Tay,
sir.
I would like to add up to our
Sure,
chairman's
sure.
answer about. I think it concerns with our Atara Suites project since it was positioned. It is positioned to accommodate tourists in the province of Bohol. Though at this time, at this moment, uh, we can see the we can really see the impact of the COVID-19 crisis in our tourism industry. But the good thing about the project is the turnover is um, 2 years from now, more or less. So with the projections of many organizations, I think ana pod nga time mag-normalize na pod ang economy. So hopefully at that by that time um, ma-normal na pod ang mga tourists, ang mga transportations. Kay even now, I think it was yesterday, sorry, no?
Yes,
Ang natawag sa to? Pe, katong mga
field
tourists,
tax,
ah,
field tax.
Philtex, asa to sila gikan, sorry?
They
From,
come from different organizations, but they are primarily tourism stakeholders at the national level. So it's a combination of national government agencies and tourism players like hotel and resort owners, tour and travel operators.
So they had
so,
their convention
so I think
yesterday.
we are still in the right track for Atara Suites project. Kay, for now, um, we can say nga heavily ang impact sa COVID-19 sa tourism industry. But I think 2 to 3 years from now, ma-normalize naman po siguro. Just like the other pandemics who happened in the past, which sa akong ingon ganiha, I think we're better in handling this pandemic na karon. So hopefully below 2 years na ang kuan. So in many projections po, hopefully next year nangaling mag-start nangaling o
Yes.
balik ang mga tourists and
Yes.
travels.
Yeah, I would definitely look forward to that. I mean,
And
I myself
uh,
even have the travel bug.
mm,
Usually I've actually read, in past research that the occupancy rate in Panglao is at around 90 to 95%. That's the normal occupancy rate. And uh, I'm sure we don't feel that this time, but I'm pretty sure it's going to go back to that rate because I'm certain that during this time of pandemic, many people have been also wanting to go out there and travel and tour again. And so I think the tourism industry won't die. Period.
yeah,
It's just gonna come back, and it's gonna come back better because there'll be safer and much better facilities. So yes.
and just to satisfy the katunangutan na,
Mm-hmm.
um, the other good thing of Atara Suites is the project is positioned to be an affordable accommodation. So especially in a crisis, so people will tend um, to live siguro in a more affordable nga accommodation sa Bohol. So we're in the perfect position right now.
Yes. Yes. Do we have any other questions? Mm, none. Okay. So I think that's all for now. Do you have any last minute messages before we end this live discussion? This was just pretty casual, and this was a really quick panel discussion to know any insights you have for condo developments in Bohol. So before we close, do you have any closing remarks or messages, especially to the audience who are viewing right now?
Well, for me, Syra, let me thank everyone, and most especially to my colleagues, members of the board, the president, the vice president, and the other members, and of course to the management committee for coming up with this Primelook program. This is one of a kind initiative or innovative. So I hope this will continue to provide everyone a wider information about who we are as a real estate company, the Atharra Primeland. And despite all these challenges that we are confronted with, let us not lost our hope in terms of what is the direction of the business sector, especially with this COVID pandemic. Let's continue to be resilient in terms of making sure that everyone still maintains the same passion of commitment. Everyone becomes passionate also of what we are going to do in the future. Let us continue planning and strategizing so that we'll be able to identify things or gaps or obstacles that are within our path of making a more productive and a more successful real estate company. So let me thank everyone and greet everyone a uh, a a special note of reminding everyone's uh, being passionate and committed to what we want to achieve. So thank you, Syra. Thank you for leading this Primelook conference, and of course, thank you to the president, Godfrey, and vice president Alex, and all our staff.
Okay, so do we have any other message? Thank you for that, Sir A. And yes, this initiative was actually brought by the sales and marketing department, and we actually have more sessions coming up in the future. I believe our next topic will be on condo investing alone, so that will particularly tackle about condo investments and basically all the good topics that come along with that. For the rest of our board of directors, do you have other closing messages before we leave?
So
Uh,
ikaw na ba? Our VP for Operation? Ikaw na
okay.
last.
I just want to say a word of congratulations. Congratulations to the sales and marketing team. And I would like to say, Thank you to our partners for supporting Atharra Primeland, and I hope that you'll continue to support our endeavors in now and the near future. So, partners, thank you very much for supporting Atharra Primeland.
Good one, sir. How about you, Sir
So
Godfrey?
so thank you for our chairman for um, participating the Prime Outlook initiated by our sales and marketing department, also to our VP and to our viewers and listeners in Facebook. Sign on Facebook.
Yes, we are live on Facebook.
And especially to the person who asked question. I think that question it arises when the lockdown ito pag-start sa lockdown. But for now, as we analyze the situation, mga God, I think we're going to recover soon. And katong nga question is with sense gito siya. So thank you atong ka question. So
Yes, and recover we shall. So, once again, thank you so much for allotting time for this segment. I know you all are very busy. I hope that you'll have good rest of your day. Thank you so much for your insights. I'm sure our viewers have also learned a lot from all of you. And do keep safe, and please stay tuned to our next other sessions for the Prime Look. Keep safe, and God bless all of you. I think that would be all for today. So thank you so
thank you,
much once
Sai.
again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai.
Bye.